Okay, with that, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Just want to make sure I am being heard before I get started.
Yep, we have confirmation of
We
that.
can hear you.
Yep, we can hear you.
Great, thank
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Again, good afternoon and welcome to today's Safety and Wholeness Committee meeting. This is Committee Chair Mujahid Muhammad. I would like to welcome you all to the December 17th Safety and Wholeness meeting. If you have not already done so, please mute your phone and on your computer. Anyone who does not mute may be muted by the call moderator or removed from today's call. Additionally, please turn off your camera if you are not a board member, the CEO, and her staff. I will now read a roll call of the board to identify who is present with us today. Please identify yourself first before speaking for the record. Commissioner Coy, Commissioner Esposito,
Commissioner Esposito, present.
welcome. Commissioner Chiquis Guzman,
Commissioner Chigas Guzman present. Hi.
welcome. Commissioner Simmons,
Commissioner Simmons present.
welcome. And Commissioner Slater Harrington. Okay. Public comment notification for today. Hopefully, I'll add my own here where we want to ensure that the public is comfortable making comment to our committee. We're going to go above and beyond to do that. So with that, members of the public who would like to provide comment to this committee, you can do so by written or pre-recorded testimony. Please submit your written testimony or your pre-recorded video the day before the committee meeting, and up to 5 individuals will be given the opportunity to provide comment today and any day that we are having this meeting, whether it be in person or virtual. Speakers will be granted 3 minutes. All public comments should address issues around safety and wholeness. Individuals or groups interested in providing comment to the committee can do so in 2 ways. Email us at public.comment@bcps.k12.md.us, or you can always visit us at the board office at the Alice G. Penderhughes Building, 200 East North Avenue, room 4006. You may also call the board office at 443-642-4095 with any questions you have about this procedure. And finally, the chat function during our virtual meetings will not be used for a tool for gathering feedback or answering questions from the public. If you have any follow-up questions or feedback for us, feel free to reach out via email at schoolboard@bcps.k12.md.us, and the board office staff will provide a response. With that said, we have a pretty interesting agenda with regards to the safety of our schools. I'm going to pass this mic over to our staff, who will be starting us off with, I believe, our protective detection system. Who do we have with us presenting today?
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioner Mohammed. It's Monique Rumo from the Operations Department, and we're going to also have our Senior Project Manager, Demetrius Page, supporting the presentation as well.
Thank you, and looking forward to the update.
All right. So are you seeing my screen now?
Now we are.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So we will jump right in. Again, thank you for having us this evening. My name is Monique Rumo. I am the Executive Director of Operations, and I will hand it over for Paige to introduce himself.
Well, good evening, good afternoon. Demetrius Page, Senior Project Manager for Emergency Management City Schools. Thank you.
All right. So we shouldn't be before you all long. This is an update to the presentation that we gave in May. So we'll go through our layers of security, talk about our commitment to safety and due diligence as far as it goes to our review, selection, and the implementation of Evolve throughout our high schools, and then give an update on how implementation is going, an added update from what we presented back in May. And just a reminder, there are 3 pillars that are the foundation of safety in city schools. Those are around emotional safety, school police who support safety, and then our physical building safety, which is what Evolve sits under. This is a collaborative effort that stretches across our school leaders, as well as multiple district office departments. We do work very closely with the school's office as it pertains to this work. So it is a unified approach, and there are different measures that happen at the school level, as well as district resources. This and the last slide are slides that we like to continue to show to just remind our community that this is a layered approach. The one thing that we will focus on here are Measure 3 and Resource 3, which, for instance, at the schools, they practice emergency drills. This is about muscle memory and making sure that in the event of any type of emergency, they have practiced and they know what to do. And then there are our emergency plans, which is something that is mandated by the state that all LEAs are required to do. And this just gives an idea and helps schools to know if they had to relocate because there was an event at their school, who would execute specific tasks in the event of a specific emergency. And there's a template that they follow so that they don't have to guess. And then to support those couple of things, our Office of Emergency Management, which is the team that Paige uses, we provide training and resources. And so in October, we hosted our first annual Emergency Management Symposium for our school leaders and their designees. So we adopted the I Love You Guys standard response protocols, which just standardizes the language across our schools for executing different drills. So we brought them in to train our schools on this language. We brought in one of our partners here locally who trained our school leaders and their designees on doing Stop the Bleed. And then schools office also they also joined us during the symposium to train schools on the entry protocols, how to fill out incident report forms. But we also, for our high schools, we had Evolve on site, or we had our team and we had Evolve set up so that if they had any additional questions, needed some additional training, they were able to step away during the break or at the end or beginning of the symposium in order to get those questions answered, because we're really trying to make sure that we provide opportunities for our school leaders to learn and be comfortable with this technology that we're using. So when we deployed Evolve, it was around these 3 core goals: are to enhance safety, to improve efficiency, and to build deterrence. Again, Evolve isn't, we don't expect it to be a catch-all for everything, but we are trying to make sure that we are modernizing our systems, making sure that those systems don't look intimidating. We have 53 units that are deployed across the 27 city schools, high schools that are managed by city schools, but there is also language within our visitor entry protocol policy that provides guidance to charter operated schools so that they know what they should do and how to deploy this in their buildings as well. And one of the things that I want to mention here is just a reminder that we did go through a pilot program, and in the appendix, if you wanted to take a look at it, we have the groups by which we piloted and when that happened. But we also have in the appendix as well are the things that came along with that pilot program. At the time when we deployed this, the board at the time wanted to make sure that we had taken a comprehensive approach when deploying this. And so if you want additional information about the pilot program and what was done, you can find this slide right in the appendix. So we still have a commitment to safety and due diligence. The team is, last year there were some concerns that had come up around Evolve. And as a result of that, the team continues to continually monitor performance and how schools are doing with using Evolve. And we're just being proactive and making sure that we're identifying any issues or concerns that are coming up and answering questions as soon as possible. We also, before deploying Evolve, the team did review 5 other systems in addition to Evolve, and you can see those systems in the appendix as well. Omni Alert is one of them, and we're just calling that out because there was a recent concern that came about with Omni Alert. And what sets Evolve apart, or why we went with Evolve, it's because Evolve it starts at the entry point of our school building. So if a student or a visitor comes into our system and they are flagged by Evolve, we're able to check right then and there to see what is in their bag and what's going on before it actually makes its way into the building. But then there's also, we are doing ongoing training. So Paige has 2 emergency managers that sits under his leadership, and they're consistently working with our school leaders. And so anytime those school leaders reach out and they're asking for support, our teams are on site either the same day or the next morning to support with those protocols and help them and retrain if needed. And then there's ongoing communication with the vendor. So if there are any challenges or any questions that we have that open back and forth communication so that we can get those things addressed as soon as possible. As mentioned earlier, Evolve is a shared responsibility between operations, the school's office, and school-based staff. We make sure that we provide the supports and training and any additional information and resources that schools may need when it comes to using Evolve. And then the school's office supports, we meet with them on a regular basis. We meet with the support managers every Friday. And then once a month, we do meet with Dr. Toze to discuss any challenges or even successes that we're having with Evolve and what things we need to do in order to make sure that schools are using it with fidelity. And then at the school level, they are responsible for implementing and following those procedures. And again, if there are any questions, we're all working together to provide that clarity and guidance as needed. So last year, in May, we showed this particular slide, this timeline. We were at April and May when we last came before the board, and the additional things that have happened since then. Over the summer, we did retrain and we did coach the schools because also when they're getting ready to gear up for the new school year, they may change who is supporting the use of Evolve for entry protocol. So we want to make sure that we're training frequently. And then there's ongoing monitoring. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to now hand the presentation over to Paige, and he's going to talk about the evaluation process that we've adopted, and then how the data looks from May until now. Paige, you're muted.
I apologize. Sorry. Good afternoon again. So this slide explains our annual system evaluation framework. We do conduct the school visits ongoing. As Monique said, there are 27 high schools with a weapon detection system. From that, we do have a evaluation team. That team goes out in the spring to evaluate the morning entry to evaluate the processes of evolve. From that data, we then move to purpose and goal, which takes us to our next slide, please.
And just let me just put a plug in right here for just a moment, Paige. Let's see. This is the observation rubric that the team uses in the spring. So as Paige said, that his team is doing ongoing visits. So that's happening throughout the year. But in the spring, they're using this rubric that can be found in the appendix to kind of gauge how schools are doing and target the training that is needed at the end of every summer. Let me go. There you go, Paige.
Yes, next slide. And so that we go from what we did. This is in result from last year's meeting. We have challenges that were identified. The first is alerting. There's a low alert tagging by staff. Our solution was to retrain. We assembled teams and went out to retrain the schools and what needed to be trained in. And the results is the importance of tagging the alerts before, during, and after school. It helps improve the system, which leads us into our next one. Consistent tagging is what improves the evolve. By tagging folks, you actually train the system on those flags that it should not be tagged, if you will. And that's where tagging is important. Next, we have protocol use, which was a challenge. The solution was accountability and observations. The results are the policy updates that were completed in reference to the policies were conducted at our symposium. Which leads us to our next point, which is the leadership training. The school's office partnered with us for our emergency management symposium, and where this was all discussed to the group of leaders. Lastly on this slide is entry congestion, which was a challenge. Our solution was staffing and entry recognition. The target reconfiguration, and there is example listed here. We used Dunbar. We actually reconfigured the space that they use for morning entry to allow a smoother process as well. Next slide. What you have here is your performance metrics. Last year we were at the daily volume was at 12,000. This year it's at 14,000, up by 2,000. Last year our alert rate was at 35%. This year is down to 30%, which shows about a 5% reduction from the previous school year, so some improvement. And lastly on this page, we have tagging rate. Last year was at 12%. This year is currently at 19%, showing some improvement. That's a direct result of the ongoing training that the staff have been performing inside the schools. Next slide, please.
And I'll just jump in here real quick, Paige. And what I want to speak to here is specifically with the tagging rate. In an ideal world, yes, we want to see a 100% tagging rate. And although it's at 19%, we have seen movement from the previous year. And we have been discussing with the school's office, what are the additional things or what do we need to do to remove any barriers with the schools that is preventing them from tagging everything, and how can we support that? So we wanted to be transparent about that particular data point.
Okay, next slide, please.
There you go.
And here we have the system loop feedback. This basically aligns ourselves with the process. The first part is basically students into the system going through walkthrough for detection. Next are your alerts, if you have any. The scanner triggers any alerts of any objects that appear or could appear to be a weapon. Third part of the process is they tag the alerts. And again, this is important because this helps trains the system as well. And the final process is the data that's captured on the daily tagging and daily entry. That helps us as well. Next slide.
And so the reason why we included this slide, we did include it last year, but we reframed it a little bit. Last year, Commissioner Mohammed, you asked a couple of questions. One of them was around false positives, and the other was around congestion. And so the two are related in terms of tagging and moving folks through the system. So we're pushing when the system is alerted for schools to tag that item, because again, the system learns what it shouldn't be alerting. And this information goes to the manufacturer, and 4 times a year, they push out updates, and this is for all users. This just isn't for city schools. So our information is also supporting others that are using the system. And so Evolve would then push out updates, and it would tell the system, all right, you no longer need to tag this. That's important because when it comes to that congestion, the fewer things that are tagged, the less congestion that you have. And so that's why we wanted to slow down and explain this particular slide. And then on to our final slide for the night.
This on you, Monique.
Okay. Oh, sorry, let me go back. And so just in terms of just a reminder that with Evolve and this entire process, our visitor entry protocols, it's about transparency, providing support, and then making sure that we are pushing accountability with putting the policies and tools in place to make sure that schools remain safe. So just being sure that we're sharing the data with the schools and helping them in making whatever adjustments they need for using the system. The schools, they all have different environments, different cultures. So any coaching and support that we provide, it's tailored specifically to that school. And then just making sure that our team is out there doing ongoing observations and follow-ups with the school leader as well as their ILED and support managers, so that they feel supported and it doesn't feel like we're being punitive in terms of you're not using the system. We want to keep our students safe. So how can we work together to make sure that we're executing everything with fidelity? And that is it for this evening. Are there any questions?
Thank you for the update. Very helpful and informative. And we were able to connect this update with last year. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to open the floor to my fellow commissioners for questions. Please jump in.
None from me at this time, but thank you.
Absolutely.
Not a question, but just a comment. Thank you very much for how well you guys have put this presentation together. I remember I was just coming on as a commissioner, probably was one of my first committee meetings, and we were just rolling out the project. I mean, rolling out the system, and I think we had some conversation around what happens if the system fails, or what happens if the system fails, and what the time or the turnaround is for school to have support when something like that may happen. And I don't think I heard that today, though.
Go ahead, Paige.
Good. Okay, so normally what happens if there is an issue, and it does happen, we've been fortunate, they happen near the end of the day for the most part. So whether it's the end of the day or the beginning of the day, I normally get a phone call and we dispatch folks there either before the end of the school day or first thing in the morning. So that there hasn't been a case where Evolve system has not worked and we have not attended to it and had it up and running for the flow of traffic. So again, if it happens like midday, then we get somebody out there. But we receive phone calls 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, say, hey, the machine's not working. And unfortunately, we've had to dispatch folks to the school and do some troubleshooting to get it up and running.
And often what we've found that it's been usually a calibration issue right now, and just from moving or repositioning, that's been the main thing that's been taking it offline.
All right.
Any other
Any other commissioners with any questions? Hearing none, I will say that one of the things that stands out is that the system has the ability to learn from the tagging that we're doing. I'm want to be able to hear about just adult fidelity when it comes to our operations. Are we finding, or do we have supports available to those schools that are showing low tagging rates. And what does that look like? Because we want to ensure that since we have the ability for our systems to be enhanced based on our tagging, that that across the board that all of our schools are taking this on as a priority. I know that that's something that's easy for me to ask, but it's something in reality for some of our schools, it can be taxing because they may not have the manpower, the human capital to be able to do what we need for the system to function at its optimal rate. How are we addressing this reality for those potential schools that are lagging with their tagging rates?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. One of the things that we are recognizing is that, especially during the high congestion points, that is where almost little to no tagging happens, just because they're trying to get the students in and make sure that they're not late to class. We do have the regular meetings that we have started with the Chief of Schools office to try and figure out how to navigate this tagging issue, because you're also right in terms of just the resources and the manpower. There's this, we have this requirement to use the system with fidelity, and this, I'll call it a healthy tension at the moment with the schools wanting to implement, but also not having the resources to do it. And so that is something that, in all transparency, we are continuing to grapple with. The encouraging piece is that we are seeing that percentage move. It's just not moving as high as we would want it right now. So we don't have a clean answer tonight, but it is something that we're trying to navigate and work through with Dr. Toze and team.
I appreciate that response. Just in a push, if the board could potentially receive an update on where we are with that, as we really want to ensure that our schools are safe, and this is the approach that we've invested in. But we have to equally invest in ensuring we have the manpower to operationalize it. So being able to get an update maybe next quarter on where we land between schools and schools office and what we're trying to roll out with regards to our weapon detection system, using it to the fidelity throughout each of our high schools. Just being able to understand a little bit more what are those pain points, particularly as we are now stepping into our budget season. It would be really helpful to understand as we move forward. But outside of that, thank you for the update. And if there are no further questions from my fellow board members and or board office, we will thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to move on to our next item, which I believe is policy KIB, our sexual offender registry and
Mr. Chair?
visitor. Yes.
Mr. Chair, it's Dewana. We also have the student transition ambassadors.
Okay. Thank you for catching that.
Yes.
Definitely, I've been waiting for this. So, staff, please jump on in. I'm not sure who we have presenting today.
I'm sorry, which one did we want to start with?
We're going to
The
start
student
with.
transition ambassadors.
Okay, we are ready.
All right. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, let us just pull up the presentation. I'm going to be joined by the director, Eric Banzak. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for having us on today. We also have a partner that's joining us today, leading by example. Ms. Tawny Cooling will be here to present as well. But we're going to get started with the transition ambassador piece because we know that we were due to give you an update. I'll let Mr. Banzak introduce himself once he comes on. I'm just going to kick him off, and then I will turn it over to him. So as we know, for the board strategic priorities, this is covered under priority 4, which involves the engagement of stakeholders and for students and ensuring that that we're contributing to the education and making sure that students are successful. The items that we're going to cover for you today under our agenda, we're going to start off with an overview, just stating what the purpose of our transition ambassadors are, and then we're going to provide you with some current data for this current school year. We're also going to make sure that we share the supports and trends, which will include impact that we are having on the students and the school communities, as well as some testimonies from some of the stakeholders. Then we will ensure that we show the alignment to student need, to kind of let you know how we are addressing the different cases as they are coming in as case managers. And then we're going to show you what we're going to do, what we're committed to moving ahead. And then we are definitely looking forward to any questions that you may have or any suggestions for us to improve the work as we move forward. As we move to the next slide, for our overview for our transition ambassadors, we know that the purpose of our ambassadors is to ensure that there is a smooth transition into the new school environments, not just for the students, but also for administration and the school community as a whole. We want to make sure that disruptions are minimized and that the students get acclimated into this new facility without feeling like they are an outsider or they don't have anyone that's there advocating for them. So in doing this, we want to make sure that there's a successful integration into the new school community so that all of those who are a part of this experience have a more smooth and more engaging experience. Now, at this time, with the impact, I'm actually going to turn it over to Eric Banzak so he can go through a couple additional items.
Thank you, Edie Goodwin. Like she said, Eric Banzak, Director of School Culture and Climate. On this slide, we just wanted to share some of the impact that our Student Transition Ambassador program had at the end of last school year. As you can see, as a cohort of 117 students, 101 are still enrolled at their receiving school. And second, as a cohort of 117 students, 92 had a higher end of the year attendance rate than the month prior to receiving an STA appointment. I ask that you take a minute to read this slide, as this slide shares some testimonies that we received at the end of last school year from our students and staff regarding the great work that our Student Transition Ambassador program have done. And while you're reading that, I'll read one out loud. I'll read the middle one. The work Ms. Alexander and Mr. Hubbard provided this school year was great to have. Their support provided us with a new perspective on our incoming transfer students and allowed us to adequately prepare and support their transition. More specifically, Ms. Alexander's assistance in connecting the school with the students' families helped us to keep them engaged. It's my hope that this school family connection is something that the STA role continues to support and improve on. And that was from one of our principals at a high school. Moving on to some of our current year data, in collaboration with our Enrollment and Choice and Transfer Office, as you can see, as of mid-November, there have been 119 safety requests, and out of those 119, 73 were approved. Following with admin or administration transfer, there have been 4 requests, and 2 have been approved. And currently, as of mid-November, our student transition ambassadors, along with our internal and external partners, we're supporting or are supporting 106 students in the transfer process to make sure it is smooth and sustainable. Looking at one of the things that we wanted to continue and support this year and improve on is how do we support students, all students being supported in the transfer process when they're approved. So we partnered with our continuous improvement office and looked at providing a tiered level of supports for students who are approved. And one way we did that was we worked with the Enrollment Choice and Transfer Office and gathered the data that they had on the student, and maybe that was past history of the students having have transferred in the past, and all current data that they received for the transfer, and us working on pulling information from Infinite Campus and Climate 2.0. And we took that information and we aligned it to our rubric. And where it aligned to the rubric is where they received the level of support. I do want to note here that there are standard protocols across all tiered levels that stayed the same. And some of those are that the ambassador will still support with the initial meeting. They'll still support with the connection between the student, the families, the parent and or guardian, and the schools. They'll still support the student and the parent or guardian and the school to assign a mentor. So this way, there'll be somebody at the school that they can trust and build a relationship with. And they'll still support the students to identify goals. So this way, they have something to work with. Those are just some of the standard protocols across all tier levels. Where it really differs is the level of support and the amount of time that they spend with the student. So for example, a tier 1, they spend roughly around 30 days with the student, and they check in on a biweekly basis for their informal and formal check-in. Tier 2 is roughly around 60 days with the student, and they check in on a biweekly basis. And Tier 3 is roughly around 90 days, and they check in on a weekly basis just because they might have some more complex or high needs requiring a weekly check-in than a biweekly check-in. So what's neat and what's cool about this program is we don't get to choose or pick who we are working with and who gets approved. So one of the things we always have to do is make sure that our ambassadors are equipped and stay up to date with current strategies or things that they could use to put in their toolbox that might help knock down those barriers that keep the transition from being successful. So on this slide, you'll see that these are some of the supports that our ambassadors have provided to students and families. So moving into the data and looking at the data trends. So one of the things that we do with throughout this program is we look at the data and we look at what trends are we seeing. And one of the trends that we look at and we monitor is the reason for safety transfers.
Feedback.
And with this trend, one of the things that we look at is what's the reason for safety transfers. And as you can see on the slide, these are some of the reasons that the parents have requested for safety transfers. And as you can see, the number one reason so far this year is aggression, and that is bullying and fighting or attack on students. And you might ask, like, well, what do we see? What's going on? So one of the first things we do is we look at we talk with the parents and we talk with the students because we check in with them on a biweekly basis or a weekly basis. And one of the number one things that the parent tells us is inconsistent school response or follow through. So what does that do? That undermines the trust that the parents have with the school. So what do we need to do? Looking at it through the Climate and Culture Office, some of the things that we need to do is we need to strengthen our Tier 1 climate systems, like clear routines, recognition, and restorative practice. But we also know that we need to tighten rapid response and communication protocols and enhance fidelity of supportive behavior approaches. Another data trend that we look at is the schools. These are the top 6 schools that have the highest number of cases so far as of mid-November this year of students requesting a safety transfer. As you can see, one is a charter school and the other are 4 traditional schools. And the ones that have an asterisk by them are schools that are slated to receive more intensive climate support, and for us to work with the administration and work with the climate point of contacts at the school and look at their data and look at their tier 1, just like I talked about in the last slide, of how can we strengthen their tier 1 climate support. But also not just do that, but work with other offices, other central offices that are going in and providing supports. And how do we collaborate and work with the administration, but work with other central offices so that way we're collaboration and our support is aligned to one another. So moving into our line support. So not only just supporting those schools, the 3 schools that I talked about, but how do we support all schools and how do we align our supports to our data that we're seeing, not only with the schools that we're working with for transfers, but with all schools. So some of the things that we're doing to align our supports are we're doing targeted climate supports, and we're working with our community learning networks, or our CLNs, to partner with our ILADs and our managers, and working with them and going on walks with them and seeing what schools need more focused supports than others. We are tailored climate plans excuse me, around support. We're even doing climate walk evaluations, and we're also coordinating climate action and support plans. Another area that we're focusing on or aligning our supports with is multiple suspension student supports. So we have our Healing Center and Violence Response Team as leading a targeted support for students with 2 or more suspensions across schools, and they identified roughly around 50 students. And another group that is supporting us with this initiative is our Wholeness specialist, and they received a roster of priority students that have had multiple suspensions at their schools to deliver small group and individual interventions during the school day to provide that SEL, that social emotional support throughout the day, and that's roughly around 400 students. And lastly is the professional development. We're providing professional development to our climate point of contacts and our school-based mentors. And we're providing that professional development on SDA process and the updates around that process, climate reset, enhancing tier 1 climate systems, restorative practice with a trauma-informed focus, and then creating systems to welcoming new transferring students into the school community. So like I shared a little bit earlier in this presentation about our internal and external partnerships, we know we can't do this work alone. And so one of the things we do is we lean on our internal and external partnerships. And some of our internal support is we collaborate with the Office of Health and Specialized Services, and they have a support which is the Hazel Health, which provides virtual mental health counseling and telehealth services to students in need of immediate wellness support. So when we're working with those students and we're working with them in the transition process, and we find that there's a support that they need with mental health, we could reach out to Hazel Health, that all students have access to it. And another internal partner is our Wholeness specialist. This year we have really started working with them. And if a student is being transferred at a Wholeness specialist site or school, we have the Wholeness specialist either be the mentor or they work with the mentor in the school and the families and the student to let them know that there's a school or a room at the school that can provide support with social emotional strategies or just a safe place to be. And then moving to our external supports and our community partners, we have a list here on the screen that you'll see that provides youth care coordination, and that connects students and families to wraparound behavioral health and social services, that we can refer students, with that support and need. Moving on to our last slide is just sustaining the momentum and our commitment ahead for our next steps. The number one thing that we're going to do is continue this great work. We're going to maintain a focus on student safety, connection, and belonging through safety and administration transfer supports. 2, we're going to build sustainable systems. That means expand training and data-driven practices that empower schools to manage transition and climate proactively. And 3rd is deepening our partnership, have that continuation of collaboration with our partners to support well-being. That brings me to the, thank you and any questions that you may have.
Thank you for this presentation. I want to first, before I open it up for questions, say that the Student Transfer Ambassadors Program reflects a really deep commitment to student dignity during times of crisis and moments of crisis. And I appreciate the work that is being done here, as this is part of the tough work that allows our schools to function properly. And I want to highlight that. I want to open the floor for questions from my fellow commissioners.
Hey, team. Thank you for, again, I just want to, I guess, um, reiterate what Commissioner Muhammad just shared. I think this is amazing that you guys are really considering how you move and support young people and their families through processes like this. But I have one question, and I might be jumping the gun, and you tell me if I am. Thinking about where we are with some schools that are being closed, and some of the schools that were actually on the list are receiving um, schools for some of the school for one particular school that's closing. Um, and I'm just thinking, what are the supports, or are there any extra supports going being applied to those schools that are receiving? So I'm being so with Renaissance closing, and with Emerson and Douglas being those receiving schools, what is the work, or has there been any work, or are we thinking about how we add that extra layer of support to those schools that are receiving folks? Because I saw that they were on the list that you guys shared, and I don't know what number slide that was, but I noticed that they were there, and knowing that they may and probably will be receiving young people from Renaissance next school year. What does that work look like, or have you guys begun to think about that?
That is a great question. And in the past, we have definitely worked closely with O&I to build like a collaborative team of individuals who could go in for schools that are losing students and for schools that are receiving students. And so we will continue that partnership with O&I to ensure that we all come together to do like activities, to talk about programs, to provide students with supports, and make sure that those students are supported through the process.
And I guess I wasn't. Thank you. I appreciate you, Director Goodwin. I'm thinking, but because they were on that list of schools that have had a high amount of transfers thus far, I'm just thinking, what are we preparing for? How are we preparing for next school year?
Do you mean with with those individual
With those,
students
well,
or
not
with the
students, but
schools?
those schools. Yeah.
That's if we could come back with a response for that, because we don't have anything that's drafted up right now, but we know from practices that we have done previously with transitioning students into new communities. We're going to continue with some of those same practices, and we're going to see what the needs are of the school communities as well as the students, so that we don't just send them in to an environment and without making sure that there's a plan in place for success. So thank you for that question. I'm actually writing that down to make sure we give it more emphasis.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And before passing it on to my next commissioner with questions, I just want to add to the wisdom that Commissioner Simmons provided. His question was a push, not that we are aware of any particular school closing or staying open, but we recognize that there is a recommendation right now, and our questions are to gain further insight into what will potentially happen if that recommendation is upheld or if it's not. So with that said, I'm
And
going
thanks for
to.
clearing that. Thanks for clarifying that. So I just want to make sure that I appreciate you. It's recommended, right? That it's not something that is.
It's okay. That's why I
decided.
kept my comment general. It's
Thank you. I
okay.
appreciate it. I'm sorry, y'all. I appreciate it. It's
You're all in
okay.
this
It's
together,
okay.
brother.
I
All
am
right.
never going to call out a commissioner, never.
Right. I appreciate no. I appreciate y'all. Yeah. I don't.
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna pass it on to any other commissioners with questions.
None for me, but
I
I think
guess.
I've done something.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll go next. Thank you so much for the presentation. I want to second what Commissioner Mohammed and Commissioner Simmons mentioned. I do have a lot of questions, so I think I might have to email these to you guys, but I guess I'll start off with I noticed that let me rephrase that. What happens or why are safety transfers declined? Because I saw that only like 60 something were accepted and supported. And I was just wondering, like, since only 75% of those requests are accepted, like, what happens after to, like, the rest of those requests?
Oh, we work with the Enrollment Choice and Transfer Office, and they're the ones that make the decision on whether a student is approved for the safety transfer. We support um, with them in that process, but they're the overall decisions from their office. But we do support with that. But with students that do not get approved, we do provide support to the school. We have provided support where we have worked with the school, have gone out to the school, or we provided support with our behavior certified analyst to give them different strategies they could use to help support with different things, maybe on the safety that was requested. So that way there is support with the child because they did not get approved, or we work with the administration and in the past with that.
Okay. Let's see. I was just wondering how many of these transfers are caused by like expulsions or suspensions as well.
I would have to, get back off here, and I don't have those numbers, so I would have to, put that in response to an email, if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have
still have one more question. Is that
jump
okay?
on in, please. No,
Okay.
please.
So I noticed in the data that there's a lot of high schools in it, and I was just wondering if we're asking these students what type of restorative practices or like wellness groups they believe would help them within their school and just overall help climate, since I did see that one of the major factors for transfers is bullying and just climate, and I was just wondering that, like, if you had an answer to that.
So when we do our initial intake meeting with the student, that is something that we ask the student what they felt, that they didn't like about the school, or what they felt went wrong, or what can we do to ensure that the transition will be successful at their new school, or what do they want to see happen. We do ask if they've taken any part in any like restorative conversations or any restorative approaches or methods that the school has done. Sometimes they tell us yes, sometimes no. So if they, tell us no, that's a flag that we have that, we need to either support the school more in a restorative, and, what training can we provide to the school, or work with the administration to see, what preventative supports we could put in place. Because again, looking at the data trends, one of the things we want to make sure is every school or every student feels safe in an environment. But we want them to stay at their community. We don't want them to be transferring. So what preventative measures can we then help support the school with, so these students will be staying and they don't want to leave and they want to stay at the school.
Okay, thank you. And just for my last question, I was wondering, what partnerships are students more inclined to using out of like, the partnerships that you guys mentioned?
So Right now, one that we see success with is leading by example with the youth care coordination. But a lot of times, like with Hazel Health and the other partners, we refer out, but it's with the parent too or the guardian to want to get that support for their child. So we can offer it, we can refer them, but then it's on the parent or guardian to move to the next level and support for the with that. So, but we've seen some really good success this year with leading by example with that organization that we have referred to.
And if I can add one
So,
part. Oops, I'm sorry.
okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, for that question there, we can make sure that we are collecting the data in a way where we can see the different ones they are actually being more responsive to. Because in all honesty, we are making sure that we're training our ambassadors to communicate the information in a way where it gives the families choice, so that they will see the different offerings from the different partners, number one, and also so we can make sure that we align the resources with what their specific need is. So that's a great question. We can definitely start collecting data that way, but the reason they come through is so vastly different at times. So I don't want to, like, just because one partner doesn't get as many references or they don't have as many students as another, it doesn't necessarily say anything negative about the supports, but it just may be the type of support that's needed by that family.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. That's all I'm going to ask today, but I will definitely be emailing you all for more questions because I did have way more in my plate. And yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. I loved it. Thank you so much for the update.
Great. We're looking forward to your questions, and we will make sure we turn them right back around.
All right, appreciate it.
Oh,
Commissioner
sorry, I
Chiklis
do have a.
Guzman. Go ahead, Commissioner Esposito, please.
Oh, hi, thank you. So I did notice because I was looking through a few schools at their data, and it looks like some of them have like a disproportionately high population of like students with disabilities. How much does that have to do with, I guess, like just the bullying or whatever the safety transfer is? Yeah,
So
like
we
is.
can, oops, sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that was it. Like, yeah, to see how much that has to do with like the bullying.
So we have not pulled data by general ed students and special ed students. That is not usually one of the determining factors for whether or not we provide them with services, but we can definitely pull it that way. Not services, but provide them with supports. But we can definitely pull it that way to see if there is more students who are coming through under bullying for special ed, but we just haven't pulled it that way.
Yeah, I think that would be
We
great.
can. Okay,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Thank you for your insight, Commissioner Esposito. I have two questions, but I'm going to ask that you respond back to me in writing for the sake of time. I'll start with saying that I believe that this work should stay targeted. It's a compassionate intervention. It should not substitute school climate um, and early conflict resolution. Those are things that we have to ensure, which our schools already have, that we continue to push. This should supplement during times of crisis. With that said, I'm interested in understanding a little bit more about tier one climate indicators um, that most often precede transfer requests. And my second concern is really around outcomes. When these transfer requests, when these transfers are happening, the outcomes that follow around attendance, um, discipline, and academic outcomes, if we could start to understand the impact of the work, looking maybe 4 months or 6 months after a particular transfer, uh, because this is something that we truly believe in, and we want to be able to sustain. We really need to be able to have that conversation based on academic outcomes, and particularly one concern when it comes to wholeness that's always important to me is that kids are coming to school. So if we can align it to that, I think it would be helpful in our conversation as board members. And I will leave it there, as I know you stated that we have a partner that wants to that you brought on tonight to join us. I'm going to ask that we hold our partner until we finish our next presentation, and then we will come and bring our partner to the floor, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you much, and we appreciate your work, and always want to take the time to affirm how important the impact of the work that you guys are providing every day is to us as a district. And with that, we're going to move on to policy KIB. Not sure who we have presenting, but we welcome you to the floor.
Good afternoon. My name is Sabri Barnes, and I am the Director of Student School Operations Support from the Chief of Schools Office. And I am joined by my colleague, Ms. Cora Parson, who is the Special Assistant to the Chief of Schools. And today we are here to present, this is a compliance report review, just to provide an overview about some updates to policy KIB and answer any questions that you all may have. All right, Cora, do you have anything?
Would you like us to give a revision summary of the compliance report?
Yeah, for the sake of any community members who may be joining us, a short summary would
Sure.
be helpful.
Okay, sure. So for the annual KIB report, this data is tracked from October 2025 through the current school year. I'm sorry, July 2024 up until October 2025. That's the last data point that is reflected in this particular report. So the KIB compliance report, it basically shows all visitors that are coming through our school being scanned through our digital visitor management system, which is currently Access 411. The system flags in 3 different categories. It would be, I'm sorry, 2 different categories, red or yellow. So red are potential sex offender registry applicants, and then a yellow is a banned visitor, which our school leaders can come in and enter them. If a parent is banned and they have received verification that the parent received the ban letter, we use this system for that purpose as well. As we stated in the report, a lot of the flags that come in can be due to the fact that names are common, such as James Johnson or David Smith. So that's why we do have a higher sensitivity of flags and a higher number of flags because of common names. Once that happens, the school leader or the person deemed as the administrator of this system will go in and go through a step verification process, which is set up by the company, and they will go through the further steps to verify if this person is or is not a registered sex offender. And then we would follow the protocol based on whether it's negative or positive. So just want to re-emphasize that if the data is showing a higher number of flags, it does not mean that our students are in danger or we are seeing those type of individuals increasing in our schools. It's just that we have common names that are coming in when parents have events or certain community outreach things, that's when the numbers tend to spike towards the beginning and the end of the school year. We also spoke that we are still looking just to explore other options. School leaders are using it. That we have done a lot of training throughout the summer. Sabri's team has done some virtual option trainings throughout the school year just to make sure that people are refreshed with it. We meet with the company monthly actually, and we review the data just to ensure that the machines are actually working properly and address any issues that people do bring to us. However, the company is available on site, so school leaders are able to access them on demand as well. But we still are just looking just to be proactive to see if there are any other options out there just to ensure that we're keeping our systems up to date and using real-time technology and data for our schools.
Thank you for that summary. It was very helpful. I'm going to open the floor to my fellow commissioners. With any questions, please step forward. Okay, hearing none, I will jump in. I think that one of the things that stood out in this report was that our visitor entries increased significantly in a year. We went from 91,000 to 154,000. And I think you highlighted it when you said spoke towards visitors, parent events, and things that are happening in our buildings. So this is a time for me really to praise the way that the district, our principals, and the schools team are really using our schools as community hubs. The idea of community schooling is working, and we can see it through this process. So I want to highlight that for all of us, that even though we're reviewing this for one reason, I see it as a win somewhere totally different, where the concern or question really lies just around the area of growth that you spoke towards. You're looking at alternatives and possible enhancements to the management tool that we're using. I know that we brought it on for one reason, and now we've been able to scale it to use for more of a community tool for us and not just a school tool. Do we find ourselves in need to find other tools to supplement what we're doing, or is the tool working exactly the way we need it to work?
I think that for right now, it is sufficient. But I think that if we would scale the way that the system, first of all, we're getting an uptick in numbers because we have been very vigilant. Our office has been very vigilant with reviewing scan data that we get from the vendor on a weekly basis and following up with schools who are not using um, equipment with fidelity. Now, there's two different reasons why there may be challenges with the equipment. The first one could be hardware, laptops, cameras, printing out passes, and then sometimes there's software issues as well. I will say that the athletics team has worked really hard to encourage schools to use the system during athletic events. Um, One of the challenges we are working through to broaden the use is we really are shooting for every student having a current photo picture ID, which would be extremely helpful, especially, and I'll go back to using athletic events again as an example. Everybody loves to go to a game. Games, athletic events, middle school athletic events, high school athletic events are one of the crown jewels that brings people from all over the city together. And what we're trying to do is, we worked with Mervo, who did a pilot. I believe their first home game was roughly 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was last week. They played Carver, and they were working on having just more entry points for visitors to scan in, and then just trying to figure out ways that we can encourage students to bring photo IDs. And in doing so, you will continue, we're predicting that you will continue to see an uptick in usage because we'll be using it more outside of people just visiting schools throughout the day. So, and then with that uptick in usage, we would be probably on trend to see an uptick of registered sex offenders trying to enter spaces. So, it'll be interesting to see a couple of months from now when we review this same data, to see what the numbers are. But we're really, we're working with schools all the time. We are working very closely with our current vendor and holding them accountable when systems do not work and responding in a timely fashion. And I will say they are really good they will manually run IDs. Like if a school, the system is down and they can't, scan, you could call Access 411 and they will run the ID for you.
Well, I appreciate the insight and the level of commitment that you and your team show, as this is an important tool to ensure that our environments and our young people remain safe. So thank you for the work. Uh, if there are no other
I just have something really quick.
questions, sure.
I just have
Commissioner
something really quick.
Simmons.
I remember when you guys first presented this and we were in person and we talked about the turnaround time and how principals can reach out. So I'm glad to hear that's been addressed. Well, but and this may be maybe not the right question, but with some of our larger schools and this something that's kind of sparked in me when you mentioned athletics and just all the other programming that happens in our schools and particularly in some of the larger schools. Is there opportunity? And I think you answered this, and I might just be repeating myself. Remember repeating you, but you mentioned like there are different access points where folks can scan in when they're coming into the building. So how does that look? Right, like are those stations manned by someone when folks are coming in, or are there multiple machines? Because I know that like in some schools they just have it right there in the main office, and you kind of tag in. But when there are like large events like a basketball game or a football game or those other events that happen in the building, that machine doesn't move, does it?
So when I brought up Mervo using the machine during their first home basketball game, we really considered this to be a pilot.
Okay.
Because while students, schools have the capabilities to use the weapons detection systems
Right.
For events, the challenge with schools using the Access 411 system for events is the pictures.
Right.
So we're trying to work with schools to promote them getting pictures of students so that we can get to a place where they all have photo IDs and then they can start tapping in when they come to athletic events.
Now,
Yes, so it's a work in progress.
And how does that work for non-students, right? Like when parents or folks come to the game as well, how does that work?
So how it would work, because that was a pain point,
Okay.
really promoting that you must bring a photo ID
to school.
into the game. Yep. And we would have to build up to that. That would require like putting that disclaimer on tickets, promoting that, because that would be a change in practice. Right now, anyone could go online and buy, 10 tickets and then give those tickets out to people. So you
Right.
really can't even police that. So the only way we could really police it would be with mandating that everyone brings some type of, photo ID.
Okay. All right.
And
Thanks.
yeah,
What you
and
were saying?
to
highlight both points. Commissioner Muhammad spoke on it briefly about expanding to the community. That's why we're just looking at other options to see what kind of things we can do to help evolve this and just make it easier and safer for people.
Yeah.
We know that other districts are using things, so we've been in contact and just asking around to see what works. Some schools use ticketed apps and things of that nature, but we're just trying to do visitor management all together because we don't want to narrow it down to just one type of thing. We want it when we have community events. We want it when we have muffins with moms. We want it
Yeah.
when we have the school play.
Yeah.
So we're looking so that it touches all the different points, but it's not capping what they can do. It's actually increasing the opportunity because we have more upgraded technology that's making it safer for us to bring other people in because we know that these things are working real time and it's a ease of use thing so that people are going to use it and we don't have to say, did you scan your people in? We know they're scanning them in because it takes less time. So just thinking about these things, as Sabri said, her team is working and making sure that people are using them with fidelity, but we really just want to be proactive so that people can do more things and do it with ease and know that they're safe when they're having these events going on.
And
one more thing. Whatever, as we're working on this, we're keeping all the schools in mind because everybody's safety is important.
Right.
So when we talk about equity, we want to make sure whatever solution we find that works, we want every school to access it, we want everyone to have it. And right now, I mean, I feel like even like with the capability for students to tap in, that's an extra feature that schools purchase through Access 411.
Okay.
So we're working to find something, some type of event management tool that everyone can use.
Yeah.
Flat costing that we would primarily attempt to absorb at central level.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Insight, definitely appreciate it. Thank you for the update, and we look forward to seeing it at the next game. That means
Commissioner, it's a work
we
in
need,
progress.
listen,
We're
we
gonna
need some
keep you stay
invitations.
tuned
We
on the
need some
pilot
invitations out to the
spot.
games. No, thank y'all so much. And we're going to move on. Before we bring up our partner today, leading by example, I actually want to take a step backwards. And I have a question that came to mind that I want to ensure that I ask to go along with the questions for the transfer ambassadors. I don't need you guys to come on, but hopefully you can just take this for to give us an answer back in writing. So the schools, when Commissioner Simmons talked about the us putting a lot of transfers in particular schools, I want to understand about those transfers and how the dollars follow. So when those transfers happen after September 30th, do the dollars follow those students with regards to the budget to the school that is receiving those students? Because we know we have some schools that are more inclined to take those transfers or more equipped, I should say, to be able to handle those transfers in a positive manner. So having that insight would also be helpful. And hopefully we can receive that in writing. And with that said, I want to bring today's community partner. We are highlighting leading by example, and we welcome you in.
Hi, I'm just making sure everybody can hear me.
We can.
Okay,
Welcome.
great. Thank you. Sorry, I had to join from my phone today. So, hi, everybody. I'm so grateful to be here. My name is Tawny Cooling. I'm with Leading by Example. So, we are a behavioral health provider in Baltimore City, and we are so excited to be partnering with Baltimore City Public Schools and the amazing student transition ambassadors and just really everybody on the whole child wellness team. We're just so grateful for the opportunity to really serve these students, serve these families, and really partner and complement the wonderful work that everyone at the school is doing. So we're grateful to be here, and I'm excited to share with you about youth care coordination. So a lot of talk of youth care coordination. It's a wonderful program, and it's really new to the city of Baltimore. So we are so grateful to be one of 6 providers that are able to deliver youth care coordination. So what youth care coordination is, it's wraparound supportive services for not only the student, it's for the entire family, which is wonderful. So the state was recognizing that all these services are being poured into the students, but when the students get home, they have other things going on. They have, sometimes they're going home with no lights or electricity or no food in the fridge or no resources, or the family's really struggling. So the state was really looking at that and saying, we need to serve the family too. We don't want to work with youth in isolation. So that is exactly what youth care coordination does. It is a youth guided, family driven program that really connects youth and the entire family to any trusted community resources, any essential services that they need, any entitlements that they're eligible for, helping them navigate those complex systems. Like a big one that's going on right now is energy assistance programs, because with it being so cold and people are cranking up that heat, that electricity bill is going high. That's really tough for some families that have financial issues going on. So we're really helping them navigate those systems, apply for those different programs for energy assistance as an example. So we're really doing that as well. And the speaker before me talked so wonderfully about sports and bringing people together. We're also connecting our youth and everyone within the home to recreational activities. So not just the kiddos to the sports and rec leagues. We're connecting the family to some community enrichment programs, some community centers, some volunteering, employment opportunities, things like that. So we're really just connecting the families to whatever services that they are in need of. This is a strength-based program, and we're really going into the home because this is a community-based program. So we're really working with the schools, but we're working in the community. We're working within the home. We're working in the hours that work for this family. So they're telling us what they're in need of. So they're the experts of their lives. They're the experts of what their family needs to be safe, stable, successful, and really thrive together as a family. And we're really just being a big connection and a bridge for that. What's also awesome about care coordination is we have monthly care team meetings. So in our monthly care team meeting, we're actually working with our student transition ambassadors, and we're working with the student social worker if they're a part of the student's lives, the student's therapist. We're bringing everybody together to really streamline that communication across programs. And we really, want to bring people together to support this entire family. So often all these supportive services are siloed off, and it's very disconnected and can be kind of confusing for our families and students of what program is doing what service and things. But this is bringing these silos programs, is bringing them all together at the same table for these monthly meetings, just making sure that everybody's on the same page about the supports that this family's needs, the supports that we're connecting them to, and really just ensuring that this family has everybody there, that they feel supported by all these different entities there. So it's just a really amazing program. So that's what care coordination is. So I'll tell you who's eligible, which is pretty exciting. So it's a really low barrier to entry program. So it's 5 to 17 years old at enrollment. So that's school age, right? 5 years old is kindergarten. I have a 4-year-old, so I know 5 is kindergarten. And then 17 is up to their senior year in high school. So we're doing 5 to 17 years old at enrollment. Once they're enrolled in the services, those students and the family, because it's a family service as well, they're eligible till they're 21 years old. So it's really following through that comprehensive continuous care. Obviously, the referrals and connections we're going to be making for a 7-year-old are going to be different than a 17-year-old. So we're really wanting to stay with the family throughout their journey of their school years through young adulthood, right up until they're 21 years old, connecting them to those services when they're older, getting them connected to employment opportunities, getting them connected to anything they're in need of in that age range as well. So 5 to 17 at enrollment, they're eligible until they're 21 years old, and they do have to live in Baltimore City to be eligible for this program, and they have to have a mental health diagnosis or be in need of a mental health evaluation. So they don't have to come in seeing a therapist or having a mental health evaluation, but they will be connected to receive a mental health evaluation as well. So that's absolutely absolutely it. It's a low barrier to entry program, as I was saying. So yep, Baltimore City resident, 5 to 17 years old at enrollment, and be in need of a mental health evaluation or already have a mental health diagnosis on file. And that's it, to be connected to this amazing program. This is a state service. So this is at no cost to the schools and no cost to the families at all. This is just a supportive, amazing wraparound program for youth and families to connect them to what they need. And by connecting them to the services and resources they need, it really ensures for a smooth transition to really help that student transition ambassadors, do their job as well. So we're really complimenting that work they're doing, ensuring this family has everything they need to be successful, and ensuring the student a smooth transition into their new school. So that is my presentation. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Thank you so much. I'll say this, the point of us having our partners come on is that often there are supplemental supports that really amplify the work that we're doing and the gaps that we actually have. And our families are often not aware of all of the supports that are available to them. So I want to thank you for ensuring that the board is aware and using this as a platform to ensure that we can scale the impact that you're having within Baltimore City Schools. With that, I open the floor to my fellow commissioners for questions and comments.
Hello. I just had a quick question. Is there an income requirement, or is it all family?
It's all families, yep, with those eligibility requirements I said before. So we are able to serve any income requirements, and they even can have private insurance. So once we receive our referral for the program, we'll do our own internal screening to see, what insurance that they have and things like that. So we serve Medicaid as well as other private insurances as well in this program. So there is no income requirement or anything. So that's a great question, though. Thank you.
Do you all have a website or like an information packet that's online?
Absolutely. I would love to share that. So my website for my company is at leadingbyexamplellc.com. And I would be glad to email, if that's okay, our flyers for the program. Or I could, I was going to say I could drop it in the chat, but I'm on my phone, so I'm not sure if I'd be able to pull up our PDF of our flyer right now. But I can definitely email that out as soon as this meeting is over or tomorrow morning, and share that information. The referral process is super simple. It's through our website. Really, for this particular program, referrals can come from the schools, any social workers, the parents, case managers. So the referral can really come from anybody. So
I appreciate that. If you can email that to the board,
I would love that. Yes.
They can make sure that we all receive it, as this is an amazing resource. Please continue, Commissioner Esposito.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was just gonna say thank you for the work that you do. It's like so important and accessible, because I know of another group that does like focused work on like just mamas, and like the impact on families and stuff is really huge. So this is great that you all like intentionally like included families.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. It's work that we're truly passionate about. We're so excited to be a part of it. So thank you.
Fellow commissioners, questions or comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say kind of what everybody else said. Just thank you so much for your service and for your work. I can feel like your passion. And I'm just really grateful that you're out here serving our students. And yeah, thank you so much. And if I could get the flyer and the website, I'd really appreciate it so I can share it with my student networks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you so much for saying that. And I'm glad that my passion comes through, because it's truly something I am passionate about. I've been in this field for, almost 17 years now, and I'm just seeing such amazing things with this program and really excited to share it with you all. So I'll definitely send all the information. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Could you speak a little bit to the cultural competency that you guys work through? Understanding that, all of our students come from different places and
absolutely
are different people. And I just wanted to hear a little bit
Yes,
about that.
absolutely. So our direct service workers, we for this particular program, we call them care coordinators. Our care coordinators take cultural competency training.
You're muted. You went muted.
We can't hear you.
I'm so sorry about that. I didn't even
It's
touch
all
my
good.
phone.
It's all good. It's okay.
I don't know when the mute happened. I didn't even touch my phone. You guys can, I talk with my hands. So that was so strange. So I apologize for that. But I'm not sure where I muted, so I'll just start over. But thank you for that question. So all of our care coordinators, that's our direct service worker staff that we call boots on the ground. Those are in the communities, in these families' homes. They are trained in core competency trainings that we do. That's across our organizations. We have core competency trainings. Not only are they trained in core competency trainings, they are trained in Baltimore youth and Maryland youth trainings that they have to pass in order to deliver these services, as well as a CANS training, which is a pretty intense. If anybody's ever heard of CANS, it stands for Child and Adolescent Needs Survey. It's a pretty intense training as well that they take, and there's different vignettes, and they have to pass every single vignette to be able to deliver these services and go into the community, into these families' homes, and really serve these families, to the best of their ability. So we do have core competency trainings across the board there. So
Thank you.
yes, of course. Thank you. It's a great question. Our co-founders of Leading by Example. Once I send out our website, you'll be able to read all about them. They're both Baltimore City public school guys. They born and raised in Baltimore City. So serving the city and serving the youth and families is really, really near and dear to their hearts, because that's their community they grew up in as well. So
Well, thank you so much
thank you. I
for
appreciate your time.
your
I'm so thankful.
time
And yes, thank you.
and
Happy holidays,
provide
everybody.
happy holidays and providing this resource to our children and our families. So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for taking the time to spend with us this evening for our safety and wholeness meeting. As some of us know, it is our norm to end our meeting with a quote. And today's quote is, "Education is an act of faith in our children, and safety is the way that we prove that faith in every single day in every single school. When schools protect both learning and our young people's humanity, communities don't just function, they start to heal through our young people." And with that, have a good night. Until next time, peace.
Happy
Have a good
holidays.
bye.
Good night.